Hi guys, American in Brazil here. I wanted to talk to you guys today about car stuff. As you can see, I'm sweaty and gross. I've been working on my car. I've, not for the first time, had to take my carburetor apart, put it back together. There was a large piece of sand in there. Don't know how that got in there. The fuel filter seems to be working fine. It's dirty here. You know, we're in the rainforest. All kinds of stuff gets in all kinds of places. What are you gonna do? So, this is my car. It's a 1991 Gurgel Tocantins. I'm giving you guys the American pronunciation there. But if you are not familiar with the Gurgel, I encourage you to look it up because there's a very interesting history of this car and this car manufacturer. Sorry, I had to cut that video off because my neighbor had made me popcorn. My neighbor is awesome. People are very neighborly here, but that's a topic for a different video. So, car stuff. If you've moved here and you don't have the means, say you're not married to a Brazilian, you didn't come here as a trailing spouse, you're just making your way, man. That's my situation. You don't necessarily have, you know, the conditions, as they say here, to buy a brand new car and just drive yourself around like, you know, you got no problems in the world. Maybe you have an older car because you just want to, because it's cool. It's fun to have a weird old car and, you know, work on it. Whatever the case, I encourage you to be patient with yourself. You know, if you're used to working on old cars, great for you. You're still probably going to have some frustration here. There is no AutoZone here, you know. You will, like, have to learn different names. There's no crow's foot wrench here. That doesn't translate. If you say Chave do Pé do Corvo, it's not going to translate, and people are going to be like, what is that? It's just a Chave. So, be patient with yourself, you know, and try to be patient with other people too. That's, you know, we never want to be that, like, gross American who's just like, hurry up! It's taking too long. Everything's too slow here. So, it's hard to find parts here sometimes. There's not a lot of national parts made in Brazil here. Multi-reasons that we don't have to get into just at the moment. But a lot of the parts here, they're not, you know, made in the USA, you know, finely tuned auto parts made in Germany. They're Chinese parts that are imported, and they're not the good ones. They don't stand up to the heat very well. And sometimes you got to work with what you got. So I just bought a distributor for this car, a Bosch distributor, that I pulled out of another car that was for parts, and that's been running a lot better than the previous one that I had that was Chinese. I kept having to replace the rotor, kept having to replace the distributor cap, and I'm not talking about like over years. I'm talking about over months. So that's a little bit absurd, right? So yeah, the point of my video is just to try to be patient with yourself. If this is something that you're going through, reach out for help to other people, you know, who may know a little more something about cars than you do. I moved here having lived in New York City for 11 years with no car. I had not driven a car with a manual transmission since I was about 23 years old. I'm 44 now. I'm a middle-aged lady. And what I did was I just decided that I could do it if I wanted to, and I believe that you can too. So whatever you feel like you need to do, if you need to get a rental car and practice, you know, driving that around the parking lot under cover of night, you know, until you feel confident to drive around town, that's fine. If you can get a neighbor to help you learn how to drive here, that's fine too. Driving is a little bit crazy here for anybody. It's different. So I would just encourage you to have a lot of patience with yourself about parts, working on your car, fixing your car, and driving. If you can have a backup, that's a really great idea. If you only have one car here and it's an old car, you're going to go through some heartache on the way, I promise you. So, you know, even if your backup is like, okay, I'm going to take the bus sometimes, you know. So that's my advice for today. Hope you guys enjoy it.